Should be going now. Okay. Looks like we're all set. All right, seeing a lot of people here. Welcome, everyone. So sorry we're starting a little bit off time here, not too late, but like I mentioned, my calendar had us starting at 11 a.m. So glad I caught that before it was too late. People still coming into the hearing. Looks like many members of the public, I'm assuming. But let's get the parties and commission staff identified. Let me just check. You can all hear me? Is that okay? All right. Just want to make sure. Didn't forget something here. So I know we have consultants for the village in attendance. I'm just going to try to get your screen names adjusted. That'll just help me manage the public participants, especially. And we have utility, commission staff. Let's see, Lisa is with the village.
And Vicki Redford from the village is also here in the room with me.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oops. Cut your name off there. Oops. All right. And Stephanie, there's Alex. Okay, looks like we have the Zoom, I think, tries to list people in alphabetical order. So I just try to combine the people who are with a party with that prefix. All right, I think we have. How about Tim? Are you with the utility or a member of the public? Tim Franz.
I'm with the public.
Okay, that's fine. Thanks. Okay, did I miss anyone for the utility? Did I get your the VOC in your screen name there?
Tammy Jordan is also with the village of Cambridge.
Okay. Okay, T. Jordan. Thanks. Okay, so the rest I'm assuming are, I think I got all commission staff. The rest I'm assuming are members of the public. Great, okay. Oh, like I said, thanks people for attending, and we can get started. Looks like we're all good to go. Got our live stream going, so that'll be helpful for us. Oh, you know what? Oh, there we go. Yeah, sure it actually is going. Yeah, there we go. Great. All right, well, let's get started. We'll just do the introduction part where I introduce the process and the case, and then we'll take our steps one at a time. So welcome, everyone. This is docket 920 WR104, the application of the Village of Cambridge for authority to adjust water rates. This is Michael Newmark, the administrative law judge for the PSC, and we're connected through Zoom, and we have the utility, its consultants, commission staff, and members of the public in attendance. And what we're doing here today is creating the record in the case. That'll be the documents we identify and verify under oath as exhibits, as well as comments we receive live from the utility, commission staff, and members of the public. We're also accepting written comments from the public. We do have at least 14 written comments on file so far. You can see on the notice of hearing that the commission issued, and also the one that the utility sent to customers. There's instructions on how to file a comment. You can do that through the commission's website or by US mail. And the deadline for that is March 28th. So there's still a few days to do that, 2 days to get those in. But like I mentioned, we will take public comments here live during the hearing. So the hearing is being live streamed on YouTube. It'll also be recorded and will be provided or available for viewing on the commission's YouTube channel. And all this becomes the record in the case. The record is then forwarded to the decision maker. In this case, it's Andy Galvin, the administrator for the Division of Water Utility Regulation and Analysis. So the administrator will review the record and then make a decision. Then the decision's reduced to a written order. That order will be emailed to the utility and posted on the commission's website. So that's basically the process we have here. What we like to do first is have the utility verify its documents, and then I can take comments from the utility. We'll do the same for commission staff, and then we'll take public comments. So typically I'm getting people's names, swearing them in, and then letting them speak. So we'll start with the utility. And just so people with screen share in front of them, I'm going to now share the list of documents that I received from commission staff. So we have 6 documents in all from the utility, one being the customer notice. And I can't remember if that was filed with verification or not, but just quickly check that. No, I don't think so. Okay. Yeah, so we'll need someone who can verify the notice to customers. And if that person can verify the remaining technical documents, we can do that, or we can switch to another person who can best verify the technical application documents. So who do we have who can verify the notice?
I can verify all the utility exhibits.
All right, great. So raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, state your name and your affiliation with the utility.
Brian Raymer, Senior Municipal Advisor with Ellers. We are the engaged utility consultant for the Village of Cambridge on this rate case.
Okay, great. So can you see this screen share?
I can.
And there's, I'm just gonna clear a path for the closed captioning on the bottom there. Okay, so there's 6 documents from the utility. Do you recognize those?
I do.
Are they complete and correct to the best of your knowledge?
They are.
And do you have any comments?
The utility and its rate consultant would kind of like to make a combined comment. So I'd actually like to pass it to the utility first to make that comment. And then if you don't mind, they will pass it back to me.
All right, well, let's play tennis here. That's fine.
Yeah.
All right, so who do we have from the utility who wants to make that comment?
This is Lisa Moen, the administrator for the Village of Cambridge.
Great, so I'll swear you in. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
And I think I might have spoken over you. What was your title again?
I am the administrator for the Village of Cambridge.
Okay, for the village. Okay, great, go ahead.
Okay, the village would like to make comment for the record, speaking to the project need and the public engagement. The village has been discussing this project for over 15 years. Original plans were submitted to the DNR back in 2009. The village's municipal water system has 2 sources of supply, wells number 2 and 3. The village's most recent sanitary survey report of 2022, the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources identified as a significant deficiency that the village's system controls and pumping capacity are not adequate, wherein the water from well number 3 has a high iron concentration and high hardness and is only used on a standby emergency basis due to the lack of water treatment facilities at that well. To meet existing and projected future water demands, the well pump and motor for well number 3 will be replaced to provide a capacity of 600 gallons per minute, as well as full treatment of the water to mirror the treatment at well number 2. As a part of the project planning and PSC construction review efforts, the village evaluated 8 alternatives with the PSC approving the project in its current form. The village did hold a public information meeting at the April 18th, 2023 Water and Sewer Committee. That meeting was noticed through the April water and sewer bills, which were distributed to all customers and posted according to typical meeting standards. At this meeting, Ellers presented their preliminary findings of potential rate impact prior to completing the PSC water rate application in order to educate the ratepayers of the impact of the project. Their initial findings identified a potential 77% rate adjustment based on the typical PSC math. In addition, the village board held meetings discussing the financing plan and potential rate impacts at the October 17th, 2023 and December 12th, 2023 village board meetings. In addition, notices of this meeting and the proposed increase were sent to all customers, published and posted according to typical meeting standards. In addition, the Water and Sewer Committee and Village Board have had numerous meetings over the last 4 years to address approval of this project, the project plans, bidding, construction updates, and so forth. At this point, I'd now like to pass it on to Ellers to discuss how we got to the PSC decision we're at right now.
Okay, great. So Brian, you want to take over then?
Yep. Do you need to swear me back in?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
So the village secured funding for the well project through the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources Environmental Improvement Fund Loan Program. This program will provide up to 30-year financing at an fixed interest rate, I should mention, of 2.255%. In reviewing other financing alternatives, Ellers found that this rate and terms would not be available in the open bond market or any other available program. Therefore, other financing alternatives would require a higher rate revenue adjustment in order to pay for the debt service. To secure this funding at the potential 30-year financing and 2.255 interest rate, the village needed a minimum rate revenue adjustment of 43%. That is determined by the Department of Administration, Capital Finance Office, who runs the financial administration of this DNR program. Beyond evaluating other financing alternatives, Ellers assisted in identifying the appropriate rate adjustment for future fiscal sustainability through a long-range cash flow analysis. This looks at 10 years of projected operating revenues against operating expenses to determine not only at the point of loan closure are you going to be able to pay your debt service, but in the future, will you be able to? So based on Ellers' long-range cash flow analysis, Ellers recommended the village file the PSC water rate application for a 49% rate revenue adjustment, and the village board approved this recommendation at the December 12th, 2023 village board meeting. The original rate application can be found on the PSC's website in their electronic records filing system under this docket. After filing the application, PSC staff makes certain adjustments and provides their threshold for a minimum revenue adjustment. This finding was at 66%, as identified in their revenue requirement exhibit issued on February 26, 2024. This final PSC staff decision through the rate case then goes through a cost of service and rate design, which was issued on February 27th, 2024, and projected that for an average residential user, this 66% rate revenue adjustment equates to about 70% impact to an average residential user. While higher than the desired amount than originally applied for, we wanted to note that this is a PSC decision that is out of the village's hands and its rate consultant's hands as well. Thank you.
All right, great, thanks. Anyone else wish to speak on behalf of the utility? No? All right, so move on to commission staff and verify its documents. We have first the revenue requirement. I believe that'll be Kathleen Butzloff. Swear you in, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm? Tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
All right, go ahead.
Did you want me to state my name for the record or?
Oh, no. Let me just say, did you In terms of the revenue requirement exhibit, you're familiar with that document?
Yes, I am.
Is it complete and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great, thanks. Did you have any comments?
Yes, I also do have a statement that I would like to provide for the record. A few of these things, Brian has already mentioned in his statement, but I'll repeat them anyway. As he said, the applicant filed the rate case on December 19th, 2023, and stated that it wanted to complete the rate case by April 2024, so it could close on the loan that has been described. Our goal for rate cases is 200 days, so this is a very aggressive schedule to complete a rate case by April that was filed in December. But the applicant, the consultant, and commission staff has all worked together towards that goal, and we're having the hearing today. As Brian mentioned, the revenue requirement exhibit was issued on February 26th, and that is based on a 4.9% rate of return on net investment rate base. Commission staff has continued to do some additional review due to the quick schedule on this case, and we do have concerns about the financial health of the utility. The utility is acquiring approximately $4.7 million in new debt for this construction project, and that'll result in an estimated capital structure of 23.92% equity and 76.08% debt. This is a very high level of debt that could leave the utility financially vulnerable and at risk for funding future capital projects. Given this high level of debt, commission staff recommends that the commission consider several order conditions for this docket. These would include restricting the applicant's ability to distribute any surplus income or make any other financial transfers except payment in lieu of taxes without prior commission approval, restricting the applicant from making any new loans to other Village of Cambridge departments without commission approval, and restricting the applicant from pledging revenues for indebtedness unrelated to operations of the water utility without commission approval. And finally, restricting the applicant from issuing any new securities without first obtaining a certificate authorizing such an issuance from the commission. Commission staff recommends that these restrictions shall remain in effect until the applicant requests and the commission approves amending and rescinding the commissions. Further, in order to facilitate the commission's ongoing oversight of the applicant's financial condition, commission staff recommends that the applicant be required to file a rate case no later than 2 years after the issuance of this final decision. This will give the commission the opportunity to conduct a timely review of the applicant's financial position. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. So did the utility have any response to the staff's comment there? To proposed conditions.
I do.
Okay, why don't we take that now,
Okay.
if you're ready?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I do not believe this was stated in the revenue requirement exhibit, nor the cost of service and rate design exhibit. I find it extremely punitive to limit the utility in this manner, rather unique, specifically as the only debt service taken on from this utility are DNR mandated projects, meaning they need to do the projects in order to continue to operate as a utility in a manner of public safety. The construction authorization as well was issued without any discussion of these potential conditions. Therefore, I do not feel that it's appropriate to stamp these conditions, in the matter of a month. As we all know, this decision will come out, but certainly could be an ongoing discussion. But I do not feel that it's appropriate to do this to the utility, given the time as well as the need for the project and only as a result of a large project. As we all know, inflation is hitting a lot of utilities. And again, I'll speak to the uniqueness of these conditions as it relates to the water division and water utilities. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thanks. So anything else on this topic from staff?
I do not have any further comments at this time.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to cost service study and rate design. That'll be Alex Hanna. Raise your right hand and do you swear or affirm? Tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
All right. Is the cost service study and rate design complete and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, it is.
And do you have any comments?
I have no comments at this time.
All right, thanks. All right, so we'll move on to public comments. So like I mentioned before, there were a few more people that have joined us since then. So let me just review again. Public comments will be part of the record in the case, and that'll be part of the evidence that the decision maker will use when approving or reviewing the application. And the commission does have the power to approve, deny, or modify the application. So the decision maker in this case is Andy Galvin, the division administrator for the Division of Water Utility Regulation and Analysis. So we're putting the record together for the administrator's review. Once the administrator makes a decision, a written order will issue. It'll be posted to the commission's website and emailed to the utility. So we have the documentation verified and accepted. We've just done that. And we've taken live comments from the utility and commission staff. We also have the 14 public comments that we've received in writing. And those are in the record as well. Another opportunity to comment is still provided in written form, and that it will be due no later than March 28th. So there's still an opportunity to file a written comment, a public written comment. But at this point, we can accept live comments here. So I'm going to turn off the screen share, and we'll see our public participants now. So I do have a list of people that I have neither identified as commission staff or affiliated with the utility. So I'm assuming you guys are public participants. And the way Zoom organizes this, it's kind of in alphabetical order. So depending on what you put in for your screen name. So at this point, I do have Deborah at the top of the list, just the person identified as Deborah. So if you do wish to make a comment, there you go. If you could turn your screen on as well.
Okay, yeah.
There we go. See you there.
I'm trying.
No, I got you.
You got me? Okay, sorry, there's
yep.
a lot. No,
You're good.
I
So what we're gonna do first is like with the other people, I'm gonna swear you in and get your name and then have you give us your comment. Basically your opinion on the case. We just want to hear what people think from the customer perspective. So raise your right hand. And do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
yes, I do.
Okay, so give us your name, please.
Deborah Brown.
All right, and your comment.
I'm just very concerned about the impact to those of us who are approaching retirement, are in retirement, or those who are not financially stable. We do have quite a community of elderly. We have folks that utilize our food pantry, and others that are just not capable of holding a full-time job. And I'm just very concerned about the impact to our community and how that was taken into consideration, the financial impact or hardship, I should say.
Okay, great, thanks. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's so that your comment is that you're concerned about impacts to low income people. Okay, well, thanks. I think that'll be important for the decision maker to weigh when reviewing the application. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, so I have Jeannie E. Looks like next person on the list.
Yeah, oh wait, I have to wait. Go ahead.
No, if you can put your screen on too, that would be good.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not working right now.
It's not working? Okay, not a problem. We can we can accept that if it's for technical reasons. I do want to note for people who do have a screen available. It's part of our way to accommodate persons with hearing impairments, because they can read lips using the screen if your face is on the screen. So we do try to encourage that whenever possible. So we have so Jeannie, we can take you audio only. That's fine if your video is not working. So first I'll swear you in. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right, give us your full name and your comment.
Yeah, Jean Esquivel. My question is, for the period of time at which the village or utility, forgive me for not understanding the exact details, but for the period at which there is oversight, what is the criteria for approval for other capital projects or needs in other areas in the village?
Okay, and just for the utility or for the village as a whole?
Yes, and perhaps that's a point of clarification.
Mhm. Okay, yeah, all right, well, it's a pretty broad question. I can have the utility address that in broad strokes, possibly. I think what I heard so far is that the project that's driving the rates in this case was required by DNR for water quality purposes. I don't know if the utility has its own standards in order before it reviews and applies for approval of projects, if you want to weigh in on that.
I think what I'll offer here is trying to narrow this to the case at hand, and beyond that, offer a discussion to be had at a future board meeting to kind of tackle the narrower or the wider question, which is of course a suitable question, but to kind of keep it focused on the case, that this was need-based based off of that Department of Natural Resources sanitary survey report in 2022, and kind of ongoing as the village administrator identified, in that they've been speaking about this project for some time. So more or less, when you get the reports, from the regulators, as in this case, the Department of Natural Resources, that will come out with a mandate to do the project. That's the last hours, if you will, in order to execute that project. For the kind of wider question at hand, I can let the village speak to that now, but otherwise it's probably best handled at a public meeting, in which the village board and village staff can answer that question.
Okay. Okay, so it looks like Stephanie O'Toole has her hand up. I'm going to go through the list like I've had it in sort of an alphabetical order for how people have inputted their names on the screen. So just want to that's the fairest way I can do this. It's not not really fair, but Kathleen, yeah, did you have something there?
I would like to just clarify, if I could provide a little bit more information.
Sure, and you probably want to give your name and who you're with before.
Okay, yeah, and for anybody new signing on, I'm Kathleen Butzloff. I'm the audit manager at the Public Service Commission. In response to this question, and after reading some of the comments on the website, I would like to clarify that this hearing and this rate increase is for the water utility only. It does not involve the sewer department. So as been described already, the Department of Natural Resources regulates things such as operations of the utility and water quality. The Public Service Commission regulates more from a financial perspective. So we do approve large construction projects that would have a large financial impact on a water utility. And then we do approve any changes in the water rates that are charged to customers. And it appeared, reading some comments on the website, there may have been customers who thought that their entire bill would be going up, and this would only be the water utility charges. So that's what we're considering today and what the Public Service Commission regulates.
Yeah, and I can add from what I know from the legal criteria the commission uses. Although I don't know if Stephanie, you want to chime in as commission attorney, but I mean, the commission does review major projects from utilities and does have a statutory criteria that it needs that projects need to meet before they're approved. And you know, they're broad criteria, but it's always the devil's in the details. But generally speaking, the criteria is to check for economic, whether the project's economic, whether it provides service that's needed for the public, for customers within a reasonable amount of time in the future, and that it doesn't duplicate facilities that are already there. Those kinds of criteria are put in place to check to make sure that utilities aren't overbuilding or over applying for projects or applying for projects that are more expensive than they should be. So the commission does play a role to check on that, and utilities can't proceed with those projects unless they get commission approval. Now, once they get approval, the recovery of those costs is essentially set in that the utility will get those costs recovered in rates, but how that plays out in terms of individual customer rates and what's needed in terms of financing and creating and putting those costs into a rate. That's what we're dealing here in this case. So anything you wanted to add, Stephanie, about that?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say that direct anyone who's listening to this hearing to Wisconsin statute sections 196.49 and 196.491 if they want to take a look at those actual statutory requirements that you referenced.
Yeah, and that was Stephanie Bedford, the commission attorney assigned to this docket. So, all right, so let's move on to our next person, unaffiliated person here. So the screen name I have is K Frutig, F-R or Frutig. Oh, I think you know who you are because you
Yes.
unmuted. Can you get your camera on?
Actually, after listening to some of the comments this morning, I'll do my own web comment.
Okay,
and
that's
would
fine.
like to continue listening in.
Sure, that's fair. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Scott Irwin, you're next. Did you want to comment? Are you there? Okay, just need to unmute. I can
Sorry about that.
There you go.
Good morning. Name's
All
Scott.
right.
Live in the village.
So let me swear you in and I'll take your comment.
Okay.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. Name, please, and comment.
So name is Scott Irwin. Guess my concern is this is a really large rate increase on the water side with, I guess I feel like very little information was given on this whole thing of why this is going on. And I'd like to see some more transparency on this whole thing. Usually I'm not in this stuff. So this is the first time that I'm participating in anything like this. I do know, and maybe there's a comment later on. I know there's a Facebook page for our local group that somebody had gone on and posted like 7 comments that they were hoping to get some feedback on. I don't know how that would get presented to the commission or not. But there is definitely more people in the community that have questions and concerns on this whole thing.
Okay, yeah, thanks. And yeah, this now is the time to get your comment in front of the commission. So the Facebook page will not be presented to the decision maker, but like I did mention, we have 14 comments on file so far through our process, 14 written comments. And then the people here speaking today are being recorded. So that'll all be available for the decision maker to
So I
review.
guess the question I have is, and I got into this conversation late in this meeting. So what exactly is the DNR mandating that the village water utility has to do?
Yeah, okay. Well, the basic improvements were well improvements, is that correct? And DNR was saying the water quality from those wells were inadequate. So the report from DNR was basically the utility has to improve and undertake these projects in order to have safe water. Kind of the 30,000 foot level there, but that documentation is See, well, we have do we have any form of that on our website filed with us? There's the application, but probably some description of the projects here in the application, but I haven't seen the DNR reports, so well, we did have another docket, and that might be helpful just to give them the docket number for the construction case, if staff might remember that. And so documentation about the project would be available for you to review, going to the commission's web-based file system. Let's see if I can.
Mr. Newmark, that docket is 920 CW 103 would be the construction docket that talks about the approval process from the PSC side of the project itself, not the rate case, but just the approval of the project, which would have the materials discussed in the question.
Okay, yeah, I see that. So I can just quickly, I'm going to share my screen quickly again. Okay, so we do have a portion on our website available to the public with documentation for this particular case, and it's called the case management system, and maybe better to start from the beginning. So if you had our homepage, psc.wi.gov, just try to do this as easily as possible. The e-services drop down should show you docket search, the CMS docket search. And that brings you to where you will find this page. And so utility number is 920. CW is construction cases. 103 is the case number. You can also find Cambridge's dockets by, let me do that. Well, in this utility name, put in Cambridge, it should come up. So, okay, but it's the other way. So Cambridge is listed here. If you don't know the number, we'll find the Cambridge dockets that way. Just have to, it's not going to let me do that now. Like that up. So in that docket, you'll see that was the construction case. So we're constructing well number 3, water treatment facilities. And the documents tab here will show you the various document types. If you click all documents, you'll see all the documents in that docket. So there's a decision approving that project. And then if you scroll down, I'm just going to quickly go down to the beginning. So you have the application itself.
Hey, Michael.
Yeah. No,
my name is Zach Pulliam, Village of Cambridge resident. I don't have access to my camera. I guess Scott's question was, is there documents what is the DNR mandating? What are they requiring the village to do exactly?
Yes.
And I've looked at those documents. I really can't find anything yet. But I guess that's a really important factor here, because I guess a lot of residents really want transparency on what needs to happen, why it needs to happen. And, so just a comment I have, we can come back to me after some other peeps.
Okay, well, so the documents we have are in this doc. So that's the best way I can answer your question. This 920 CW 103 is the documentation the commission has on the project. Final decision should give you a description of the project, as well as the application should provide you background on what was required for the project. Short of that, I don't know. I can't answer what the details are, but
okay. I guess my last I guess this is really more of my comment is
Yeah, go ahead.
I came from Janesville and formerly from Madison. My water doubled, if not tripled, when I went to Janesville. It is now tripled and it's going to quadruple from what I had in Janesville now into Cambridge. Extremely high in my opinion. I don't know what the other communities have around us for water rates and what their cost is on the average bill. It just seems like we were already excessively high and it's going higher. And I know some people are going to be financially cash strapped. I think there just needs to be clear information as to why this change, if this has to happen. You know, if we've got bad water that, you know, I've got a 6-month-old daughter at home and I got a 3-year-old. If they're drinking bad water, yeah, I want it fixed, but I also want the transparency and the reasoning why this change needs to happen. And that's what I feel has not been shared with the community right now, or at least I haven't been going out there trying to find information. The information may be there, but that's just a communication issue that needs to get solved in our local community at this point.
Yeah, and I'd encourage you to answer those questions, get the documentation specifically would be to go to the utility and ask for that. I think it was discussed that there were several meetings where the project was reviewed and approved by the village, and I'm sure that documentation is available. So the utility would be your first stop to answer those questions.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, all right, great, thanks. I'm just gonna put that in for commented. Okay, so let's move on. The next person on my list is Sharon Daly. Great, see you there. Okay, I'm gonna swear you in. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm? Tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. And I'm gonna unmute you while your hand up there. There we go. Yes, go ahead.
I do.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I appreciate the comments of the public so far. Thank you for clarifying, whoever spoke before about the difference between the entire water bill versus the water and sewer. But I would just reiterate what Scott just said about, I have lived in neighboring communities of, that are within 10 miles of here, and it's kind of a known thing that Cambridge, for whatever reason, has an incredibly high water bill. When I tell people what my average water bill is, that live in neighboring communities, they just like gasp. They're like, "You're kidding." And the fact that this is now going to go up again, and again, the comment that was made about people on fixed incomes, or I just think the this much of an increase, just so fast is going to hit a lot of people, and raise what are already really high water bills for this village. So I understand, again, the need for having it done, but I'm not sure what could be mitigated to have this increase not be such a burden on people that are paying water that is already high, and have it, just be a done deal, and they just have to do it. So I don't consider myself a extravagant water user, and my average bill is $100 a month. And when I tell people in neighboring towns, they're like, "You're kidding." So yeah, this increase of 69% is going to be, definitely an impact on a lot of the village residents.
Okay, well, thanks very much. Okay, it was Stephanie O'Toole. There you are. Okay, I'm going to unmute you. Make sure we do that. And great. All right, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm? Tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, so go ahead, Stephanie. What's your comment?
Hi. I'm going to do my best to make it comments and not ask too many questions, following up on what Scott had to say. Communication in general is not particularly excellent in Cambridge. I've asked actually of the community to provide quarterly newsletters, just communications. Not all of us can go to the board meetings, and I have gone to some and volunteered actually. And I would really love it if we could get proactive communication and just to tell us what's going on so people aren't so surprised. I'm sorry, I was going to continue to speak. So I think that would go a long way, because I do believe our water needs to, to be good. And I know I drink the water here and it doesn't taste good. I've lived in the Chicago suburbs. I've lived in Black Earth, Wisconsin, which is a similar size community. Excellent water, has good results. Our water bills we're lower there. the bills here are shockingly high, and I'm a single person. I hardly use water. I do my best. I wash my face, turn it off in between. I don't even let it run when I brush my teeth. So I hope that this is a fix. That means that our water quality will that it will taste better. I hope that it will be, I don't know if cleaner or is the better word. I would request that we receive annual updates on our water testing results, so that I tried to go find it myself, and I ran across some horribly old website, I think maybe even the DNR website. And I can see that we do testing, but it would be great. I've lived in communities before where we receive annually the results of our water, because water is a big thing. We've got PFAS issues now. My understanding is that is being addressed, at least from my contact here. So for what I'd like also to know what we're getting for this expenditure. So will the water also be softened? It sounds like maybe I heard something about maybe some iron remediation. Sorry, I got a couple of notes here. I'm wondering if there's a strategic plan for the future for the next 20 to 30 years. It would be very good for the community to know what that is, because if this is and oh crap, we got to fix this now, what's the next one coming down the pike? It would be very good for us to know as residents, what is the utility strategic plan? Hopefully there is one, and if so, it would be great to have that provided in a newsletter to the residents. I do agree. I am not an expert in utilities, and but I have experience in the work that I do, and I respect the work of the Public Service Commission very much. And I think if this is approved with this rate and with the debt load that this utility will be carrying, I would appreciate some oversight of the PSC on that as a resident. So that I just wanted to make that comment. Now, again, I'm not an expert, but I think that would be a good thing for us to do as a community. I think that's probably it. Oh, I did want to know, and I don't know if you can respond to this or not, were there efforts to seek grants? Were there any grant funds available at all?
Okay, great, thanks. Okay, well, I did want to turn that over to utility for comment. Just, I think generally speaking, just the public outreach efforts, if there's I know there was a number of meetings based on the project, but in terms of annual communications to the residents, to the customers, can you just describe what your activities are on that end?
Yes, like we said, there have been numerous meetings. We do try to post our consumer confidence report with our water is posted every year. It's in the newspaper. It is on our website. It's posted here at the Village Hall. So we do try to reach out. We have not done newsletters. That is something we can consider doing. We do try posting, we do post all of our meetings in numerous public locations on the village website. Try to get the word out the best we can. I do have a mailing list for all residents if they'd like to receive copies of our agendas for all meetings. I can add to the names and emails so that they do receive notices of all meetings that go out. We are in the process of switching over to a new website. That website will have the ability for residents to be able to sign up to receive certain notifications. If they want notifications of all meetings, of specific types of meetings, they can dictate what they'd like to be notified of. So that should be going live shortly. But in the meantime, residents can let me know, and I can add people to the email list of all notification of all meetings that the village board is having, so you can see the agendas, know what is being discussed.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. In terms of the water quality report, I think that's an annual document, right? Is that, and how is that shared with customers?
It is published in the local newspaper every year. It is on our website, and it is posted.
Okay, great, thanks. All right, so let's move on to, I think we have Tim Franz, available here on screen. I know you've been waiting quite a long time, so appreciate.
I filed a comment online, so I'll let that suffice.
All
Thank
right, well, appreciate it. Okay, thanks. All right, so checking our list here, I think we have, let's see, ZP, I think you had spoken before. We can take you for your comment now.
Yeah, hi, my name is Zach Pulliam again. I do to your question.
So can we get your screen up?
No, I don't have access to that right now.
No screen, okay. All right, so let me swear you in. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, so name and comment, please.
Zach Pulliam, Village of Cambridge resident. I guess one of my main concerns is the communication going out. Do we have the mailing list? Because we did not receive a letter at our home address in Cambridge. And I know of other residents that received letters last week. I believe that is too short of a notice for what's going on and how big of a project this is. Another thing is, we're getting mixed. I'll just say this. I read the news article and it said that this has been ongoing for 20 years. Today, I heard that it's been ongoing for 15 years. I also heard that it's been in discussions for the last 4 years at the town board meetings. My questions, I guess, are to the village, why hasn't this been in discussions for the last 20 years? What have you been doing to work on such a large project that impacts the health and safety to the residents? Clean water is very, very important, and we all deserve an answer to that. Why such a big project has not been worked on over many, many years. And that's my comment.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I know there was a number of different years mentioned there. Is there a way to clarify the timeline on the utility side?
Yeah, like the 15 years that I mentioned, that was when the first plans were submitted to the DNR. So obviously it was worked on before that. That's when the plans were submitted to the DNR. In 2020, the board did start talking about this project and moving forward. And let me clarify too, the water currently meets all standards. It was that the capacity of well number 2, the DNR didn't feel was adequate. We needed well number 3 online to help meet possible high peak demands. Well number 3 is not treated to the level that well number 2 is. So in bringing well number 3 online, we're bringing it to the same treatment that is on well number 2. This is a board decision on when to do this project. So yes, it has been talked about for numerous years. The board did not opt to do it in the past. And as Brian had said, as the DNR was pushing, saying it has to be done, it was talked about and then moved forward that, yes, we're doing it now. But it's ultimately a board decision on when the projects are done.
Okay. Yeah, Zach, did you have a?
Yeah, so I guess my other question is, like, when was the well first placed out of service or non-operational by the village? Because if it's been for 15 years, you've been using a secondary well while you're maintaining your first, what happens when your first well goes offline? And these are the concerns, we have as residents. Like, this is an important thing. This is part of our infrastructure. We drink this every day. And this is something that is important, that needs to be addressed in meetings every week. So I guess that question I'd like answered is when the well was first non-operational.
The well is not non-operational. It is our backup well. It can be used in cases of emergencies, working with the engineers on what do we need to add to it if we're using that well. But it is not non-operational. It has been our backup well.
So you're talking about well number 3 as the backup well.
Yes, that is now
Okay.
being upgraded. Mhm.
Yes. Okay. Okay, great. So, I did want to mention, I just wanted to share document here for those with the screen available. So the notice to customers that was filed by the utility and was verified just here today does include the description of the ways that it was shared with the public in here on the top top left corner of the document. So it does describe a number of ways. So the requirement that's in the PSC's rules is that the notice be posted in 3 locations. So the utility met that requirement, says on the top, posted on March 11th. And then it also provided additional forms of notice, a special mailing, publication in newspaper, and posted on the village's website. So in terms of the commission's requirements, though, our rules they're set. We don't modify those based on different utilities or different cases. So it met the requirements that all utilities need to meet for these types of cases. And the utility did go beyond that with the additional forms of notice. I just wanted to point that out to everybody. So I believe we heard from Deborah already. I want to give new people a chance, although, no, we didn't. Okay, I don't know why. Oh yeah, hang on. Let me
I
unmute.
just had a general question, but I didn't know there were still more people. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's a bunch more. So let's wait for that. Okay, thanks. Okay, so we do have people. I think that's all the people on with Zoom on over the internet. We do have 4 people on the telephone lines. So you'll need to unmute your phone if you wish to speak. And we have the phone number ending in number 065. We'll take that person first. If they want to make a comment, you'll need to unmute by pushing *6 on your phone. Sometimes it does take a second for people to get to that. So just generally speaking, for the people on the phone, *6 will get you unmuted. So let's try the number ending in 158.
I'm sorry.
Okay, there we go. There's our 065 person. Did you want to comment?
I did.
Okay, great. So let me swear you in. Raise your right hand.
Okay.
Do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. Give us your name, please.
Barbara Burkholz.
All right. Go ahead.
I've been a resident in the same house for 32 years in the village. And my question is, oh, by the way, we did used to get mailings annually with the accuracy of how well the water was. But that was quite a few years ago. So I think what people are a little confused about, I'm one person. I use generally about 2,000 gallons a month. And
Could I
my
ask you
bill
just to
runs.
speak up a little bit, please? It's kind of hard to hear you.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
I'm
just
one person. Can you hear me better?
not very. Can you get your close? Can you get closer to the phone?
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
That's a little bit better. Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Anyway, I'm one person, and I generally use about 2,000 gallons a month. And my bill right now is running about $95 a month. I understand that, yes, we do want quality water. But my question is, years ago, we put in a new treatment plant. And it raised today I think our sewer runs me about $64 a month. What I would like to understand is, when is that DNR loan paid off on the sewer so that we could maybe get some relief from that cost? Or is it always going to stay at a higher rate? Because based on what I'm hearing, is my average bill now will go up to $125 a month. And I'm just wondering, will we be getting relief at some point from the sewage treatment loan?
Okay. Yeah, so that sewage treatment costs will not, it's not what's at issue here. It's not going to affect the decision in this case, but I understand your concern about your overall bill cost. I'm not sure if the utility can really comment on that because I don't know what their involvement is with setting the sewer rates. If there's anything you can say to that, go ahead, but.
I can speak to when as their financial advisor, I have
Okay. And just
the
introduce
loan
yourself.
schedule. Oh, sorry, Brian Raymer with Ellers.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
And their clean water fund loans for the sewer utility, they have two of them. One, its final payment is in 2025. And the second one, the only other clean water fund loan, is final payment 2026. So that's when those loans fully amortize.
Okay. But the status of those loans don't dictate what the sewer rates are. Is that?
No. And this is Lisa Moen from the village. We are part of a wastewater commission. So the commission, the Cambridge Oakland Wastewater Commission, is the one that would dictate that more than the individual communities participating.
Okay. So I guess advice for the customers there would be to keep informed and keep your eyes on the utility, the wastewater commission's activities, as well as the villages.
Yes.
Yeah. So when it comes to water, we're talking about the village and we're talking about involvement with the Public Service Commission. When it comes to wastewater, you're dealing strictly with the wastewater commission. Okay.
So once those loans are paid, there's not going to be any impact to the bill?
Well,
sewer?
we just can't say. It's not set by us. It's not set in this proceeding. I mean, my personal experience with rates and utility costs is that as costs go up, the need to increase rates go up. So even as projects get amortized, there's other costs that, still drive rates going higher. So I tell people don't expect rates to go down. I think that's just a fact of life. But in these particulars, you may want to ask the wastewater commission what their plan is and what they project going forward in terms of their need for increased rates. So the details we just can't speak to here.
Okay, I just have one more question. So the over by Grace Lutheran Church, there was is that where the well number 3 is? I was wondering what impact that had on the water system.
That is the project that this is in relation to. That is well number 3.
That work is already completed, or you have more you have to do to that?
It will be completed by July of this year.
Okay, and that's the money that you're needing to pay for that work?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, great. Thanks. Just going to indicate that you spoke on my list here. Okay. Thanks. I'm going to mute you now. And so we do have phone number 158. Looks like that person's unmuted. Are you ready to make a comment?
I am. I'm Pamela Schmidt.
So let me swear you in. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm? Tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Okay. And repeat your name for me, please.
Pamela Schmidt.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
I made one comment, and my comment right now is just to reiterate my comment that I would like the PSC to remember their mission statement, so it's to have a reasonable increase, and I don't believe 60+% is reasonable.
Okay,
And-
yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm good. I'm done. Thank
Okay,
you.
great. Thanks for letting us know that. Appreciate it. Okay. Mark that you spoke, and we'll mute you now. So I have one more phone participant. Their phone number ends in 252. I'll ask you to unmute by pushing *6 if you wish to speak. Give me a second here. It could be difficult sometimes. No? Okay, so phone number 262. Need to push *6. No? All right. Well, we'll move on then. Looks like I have all the people who have spoken so far. I've had the chance to speak. Deborah, did you have a follow-up?
Yes, I just had a quick question, and I probably missed this. I apologize. I had to jump off for a work call and come back. What is the length of time on this loan? Is it 30 years? Is it 15 years? Because my question kind of ties in with what the one caller said about the relief from when the loan's paid off. And I understand that there are things that happen and prices go up, but this is a significant loan. So what is the term of this loan years wise? And yeah, let's just start with that.
Okay, so maybe Brian Raymer, you want to just refresh our memory on that?
Sure. The program allows for the DNR Environmental Improvement Fund loan program allows for up to 30 years at 2.255% currently. The village board is actually making the final determination on that term tonight at their board meeting, which I will be presenting at. So if you have availability, stop down. Otherwise, you could certainly reach out to the village after the meeting tonight, where they will decide the term of that loan. The eligibility for anything greater than 20 years needs to be provided by the registered engineer on the project to calculate the design life as a project as a whole. The engineer, just not myself, financial advisor, the engineer is a separate person. They calculated the design life and the DNR approved that at 34 years. Therefore, the village has kind of the option up to 30 years, which they will decide tonight. So
okay, thank you. And then just my follow-up question, and I don't know if this is a question for this group, but it is the loan does affect this, or the increase in price affects this. Has the village done any research on how this is going to affect some of us who may not be able to live here anymore because of this increase, and how it'll affect our ability to sell our homes? Was that looked at, that impact on the community, or was it just this is the rate increase and so be it? Because there's going to be some that can't afford to live here anymore.
I can speak to that, Judge Newmark.
Go ahead.
Our analysis that's done for the village on a long range cash flow basis builds in additional capacity for debt coverage. So as to say, cash revenues minus cash expenditures, how much is available for debt? We want to have a certain coverage. That's what you need at a minimum to close the loan. That would be $1.10 for every dollar of debt service. We typically recommend something slightly higher than that, as these utilities experience volatility. When you have in maintenance expenses, when you have a large adjustment like this, that can send a price signal to users that you're kind of indicating where there might be less usage. So again, it is designed to be a little bit higher. So when I made my first comment at the start of the hearing, it was the minimum adjustment to close the loan to get to that $1.10 debt coverage was 43%. Our recommendation for that buffer is 49%. The PSC has decided it's 66%. Thank you.
Okay,
So
great.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't really understand how that helps me talk about the value of my home, trying to sell a home where a family is now faced with this price for water.
Mhm.
Because I'm like everybody else.
Yeah.
You know, I minimize, but I'm very concerned about the ability to sell my home now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess I'm not a realtor, but I guess, I mean, one thing we need to all think about when we think about water service is that we obviously need clean water and reliable water. And the cost for that actually is very, in many cases in Wisconsin, is based on your location. So in some ways, it does kind of go with that real estate mantra, you know, location is primary concern or the primary factor. And so when it comes to where you live, the water cost can be significantly different because of what's under the ground, what is the source of your water? What does it take to provide the community with clean, reliable service? So a lot of that is kind of, you know, built into where you are. And hopefully in this process, in terms of the construction case and the rate case, utility and the commission are trying to come up with a compromise in this situation, a compromise as to what can provide the most, you know, the cheapest and most reliable and the cheapest way to provide quality water with also maintaining the utility's financial health. And, you know, that's where the debate is here between the utility and the commission. But you know, that work is definitely being done by the entities that are tasked with those jobs. So it's encouraging to see. I think a lot of times we tend to get lost in the details, but I think generally speaking, that you look from kind of from a higher altitude, the commission and the utility are trying to come up with a way to basically provide, you know, quality water at a reasonable price. Problem is the realities of where the utility is and its situation in terms of its system and its water source may, you know, does dictate costs. And when someone's coming to look at your house, part of, if they say, oh, this water is much more expensive than Janesville and Madison, well, the reason is because it's in Cambridge. I mean, that's one of the big reasons, is because of the location. Now, hopefully, I know Cambridge. I know you know, there's definitely benefits to living in Cambridge. And so hopefully that'll outweigh people who are looking to move there. But also, you also want to think of the number of customers also has the volume and the number of customers also has a very big impact on how individuals are affected by rates, because costs are spread over the entire customer base. So if a utility is very large, a large city, those costs are spread over many people. Whereas if a utility is smaller with smaller customer base, an individual has to bear more of the, you know, total cost. So that's another consideration. But again, that may be what attracts people to Cambridge, is that it's a smaller community. It's more, you know, more amenable to people who like to live in a smaller community. But there's costs to that. Realities are definitely intertwined with that. So I mean, in terms of, you know, you're addressing your question about real estate, although it's not my expertise. I think from what I know about utility situations here, it's basically baked into your location and you know, the number of customers you have. So, you know, Cambridge certainly has other attributes that relate to exactly those things too. So that may be a way to describe that to a potential home buyer.
Hey, Michael, I appreciate your response. This is Zach again. So it just doesn't make sense to me that we've had I'm not going to say non-operational, even though in the news article, that's how it was stated, was non-operational. Not up to code, for the last 15 years, but our water rates have still been high. But now we're bringing on this well and we're doubling it. So just another concern and something to look at, that our water rates have always been high in Cambridge, Wisconsin. And we've had a non-functioning well. So I could understand our rates being high in the past with both wells being online, but now we're just doubling it. I lived in DeForest. I lived in Cambridge for 4 years. I came from DeForest, and our bill for 3 months is what it is now. And I have 4 people in my house. So just another concern.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. And yeah, this will all be part of the mix here, right? So we do have that recorded for you. Stephanie O'Toole, did you have a follow-up?
I did. I appreciated your comments, Michael, about, how do we basically market the fact if we're trying to sell our homes? Obviously, I love Cambridge. I moved here to Cambridge. It's quaint. It's lovely. Pretty comparable to Black Earth, where I used to live. Well, I shouldn't say comparable in size. There's a lot of other nice things here in Cambridge, but not the water. The water in Black Earth tasted great. The water here, it doesn't taste good. It tastes horrible. I don't even take water out of my tap in my bathroom in the middle of the night. So if we're going to be making these improvements, I still not quite hear, is our water going to taste better? Is it going to be softened? And those kinds of things. So if anybody has any answers to that, I think that would help us all sell it, a little bit better.
If the utility had any comment on, I think they might have mentioned something about iron removal, but is there any other attributes to the project?
There will be the iron removal, the softening that is at well number 2. All of the same treatment that is at well number 2 will now be at well number 3 as well.
But residents are currently getting service from well number 2.
Yes.
Okay, so it'll be the same essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And well number 3 as a backup well, how did that work? Was it just for emergencies, or did you blend water from between the 2 wells when you needed?
It was just for emergencies.
Okay. And I'm sorry, in terms of emergencies, that's like if well number 2 would fail, or for like fire protection?
Yep, if well number 2 went down, if well number 2 had to be taken offline for cleaning, for any major repairs, residents would be notified, press releases going out that well number 3 would be in place. We could do some local treatment at the site, adding chemicals, but not the full treatment that well number 2 provided.
Okay. All right, great. Thanks.
Hey, Lisa, can the village residents get reports of all the times that's happened over the last 4 years?
So wait, this is Zach, is that correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Because if we're not getting fully treated water, but we're paying what we're paying, at times, I'm not understanding. So can we get the reports of when those wells, that well number 3 was used, that was not fully treated like you stated? Can the village residents get those reports? You also stated that there was communication that went out to the village residents when well number 3 was used. I've never received anything like that. Is that a website thing? Is that a newspaper? Where is that coming from?
I'd have to go back and look exactly when it was used and what type of notifications. So I'd have to go back and look. I can do that, but I don't have that information at my fingertips.
Zach, if you could just reach out offline when we're done and see if we can pursue that.
Sounds good. Thank you, Mike.
All right. Anything else? So we have given everyone an opportunity to comment. And like I mentioned, we will still accept written comments up until Thursday through the commission's website or by US mail. Just be careful now, we're getting close to that deadline. So mailing may be a bit tricky to get to us. We need to receive it by Thursday. So, okay. So with that, anything else we need to discuss before we adjourn? No? All right. Thanks very much, everyone. We're adjourned and take care.